One of the biggest dangers Israelis face in Gaza is the blurred line between innocent Palestinians and Hamas. They're fighting literally building by building, street by street inside Gaza. And despite what you hear, Gaza is not a few bad actors amid a majority of peace-loving Palestinians. In fact, polling from before the war shows 58% of Palestinians in Gaza support a return to the armed intifada, i.e. terrorism, rockets, killing Israelis. If a new presidential election were held with two candidates in Gaza, Fatah, that's the Palestinian Authority's Mahmoud Abbas, would receive 37% of the vote. Hamas's leader would win in a landslide, 58%. Curiously, that's very different than how President Biden has explained the situation.
The vast majority of Palestinians are not Hamas.
Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people.
That's very different than 58%. Mark Mellman is a Democratic pollster and strategist. He pointed this out in an op-ed in The Hill and joins us now. It's good to see you, sir. I'm seeing behind you, Democratic majority for Israel. I'm wondering why there's this distinction being made about what percentage of Palestinians support Hamas.
Well, let's be clear. Against Abbas, a vast majority support Hamas. If you were to say in the legislative elections, leaving out Abbas, who was extremely unpopular, and just say it's between Hamas and Fatah, which is Abbas's party, you get about a third for Hamas, about a third for Fatah, and about a third that say, gosh, I can't vote for either of those two parties. But really more important than that, the reality is, as you pointed out a moment ago, you do have a majority of Palestinians that favor violence at this moment, that favor armed confrontation. That is a sad commentary. It's an unfortunate commentary, but it is the reality. And if we don't recognize that reality, it's going to be, and change it, it's going to be impossible to really achieve peace.
Yeah, 48% of Americans 18 to 24 support Hamas in the current war with Israel. Is there a whitewashing going on in America of not this feeling of being pro-Palestinian, but that being pro-Palestinian in the way of chanting from the river to the sea and intifada, that there's a problem with people who are pro-Hamas? There's a large amount of Americans who are just fine with violence against Jews?
Well, honestly, I don't think it's a majority at all, and I don't think it's even a majority of those young people. I think those young people are ignorant, frankly, of what's going on. We've seen in polling, for example, that a majority of these folks think that there was a country called Palestine that existed and which Israel invaded and took over. Completely false, completely ridiculous, no basis in historical fact, whatever. That's what they believe. So they feel sorry for Palestinians. I understand that. And they see this as a way of, these rallies and so on as a way to communicate their sympathy for the Palestinians, but they're backing the wrong horses. They don't understand that there is Hamas, which is horrific, and the Palestinian Authority, which is frankly bad, but not nearly as bad as Hamas. And they really don't understand the situation at all.
Yeah, you make a great point. When I was waiting for you to say, and there's the Palestinian Authority, which is not much better than Hamas. As we've come to learn in so many different ways. This was a fascinating conversation. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.